Hi, I'm Sarah Manofsky. This video forms part of the Song Method, a research initiative exploring songwriting methodologies, collaborative songwriting environments, and songwriter development. I am interviewing Michael Angelo today. Okay, so hello. Today I am here
Oh,
with the amazing Michael Angelo. And so I've known you for over 10 years, I want to say.
hmm.
And I found your career path very inspirational. So,
Thank
just as an
you.
introduction, Michael is an incredible songwriter and producer and entrepreneur. Alongside his success as a songwriter and producer, he is also exploring how emerging technologies such as AI can be integrated into creative and business workflows.
Hmm.
So, Michael, I'd love to explore songwriting creativity, adaptability, and the future of the music industry in this interview with you.
Yeah.
So, before we start, is there anything you want to say about yourself, your background?
I've been a producer now professionally for over 20 years, I want to say. Self-made essentially. No one really kind of just provided me with anything. I just decided this is what I want to do. Started developing my talents, took years, finally got some breaks, met the right people, and it kind of all grew from there. So just proves that, if it's really close to your heart and you want to make it happen, you can.
Yeah, great. I love it. All right, so my first question is when writing with different artists, how do you adjust your creative process to suit the artist's needs while still contributing to your own strengths?
Right, yeah. So it's a great question. So for me, I've always approached it like a mirror. Like my speakers were a reflection of that artist. So
Love that.
the way to do that would be for me to consume a lot of what they are about, what's in their mind, what they've been going through recently. So you do that through conversation.
Mm,
So I'd always take time at the start of the session to get to know someone, to get to know it, like almost immediately what's in their mind, and then kind of work backwards. So like what they've been going through recently, and then even get into some life history as well to get deeper and closer to the roots. And through that conversation, which can last anywhere between, well, I mean, some of them have lasted,
too
hours and
long.
hours, but I'd say, yeah, like half an hour to maybe an hour and a half, there will be some sort of hook in there
Mm,
that they say that can spark an entry into a song that will mean something.
mm,
I don't like to write about anything that doesn't mean something personal. And not personal to me, although there can be similarities in someone else's story that, of course, I'll resonate with. But I'm after the source of inspiration of life that they are going through or that is significant. So I will dive into conversation for as long as I need to find that point. And I don't look for that point. I want that point to strike me in the face, basically. It has
mm,
to just be glaringly obvious to me. And like, oh, that's a song, oh, that
mm.
could be a chorus, or, that's a great point of view that we should put that into something, and then it always starts from there, at which point I'll then, nip over to the piano and find some chords that can, support that emotional context. And then the song grows from there.
Amazing. And in terms of your own strengths as a producer, say if like you find that you're really good at one particular thing, but the artist is like more leaning towards another direction, how do you kind of compromise with each other?
Yeah, so I noticed that whenever I just kind of move to the piano, that's always like the safest point of entry because if
Mm,
it's a rapper, I can still find like harmonics that will support the concept of the song. Obviously, if it's a singer, they can find the top line. And then once I will always start with like chords and melody and concept and even lyric,
mm,
and then build from there. So then, depending on what genre or stylistic preference that artist is looking for, we can then adapt whatever we've created organically, on guitar or piano into a particular genre. But I always like to keep it open at the start. And I think as well that brings out more imagination from the artist
yeah.
because I think a lot of people kind of go into sessions with a prerequisite of like what they've done and I want to do something like this or do something
Mm,
like that. So I like to kind of keep it as open as possible and be able to weight whatever our contribution is that day on the strength of the song that we have, like that initial core idea. If that spark isn't there on that initial core idea, we'll move to something else.
yeah. I love that. It's a great answer. Sorry, my dog is about to bark. All right. Sorry about that. So, what skills do you think emerging songwriters should focus on developing if they want a long-term career in the industry?
I think like awareness, awareness is like my number one tool. So awareness of myself, of the person I'm working with or people, awareness of what they're going through, awareness of what's important to them. Um, and then obviously a strong professional awareness of my own skill set. And being able to, the skill set is like being able to dive into being able to communicate whatever it is that they want to do, but just in a way that it's even better than what they thought it could be,
So know their
if
strengths
that
and
makes
harness
sense.
that.
Yeah. So that's like a skill set in itself. So if you're
Mm.
able to like be aware and then you're able to communicate via a piano, a drum machine, a synth, then I think that's literally like you can make a hit just from those skills alone.
Love it. Love it. So you're currently exploring AI within your business. How do you see AI impacting songwriters and producers over the next 5 years?
I mean, already massively, so much impact. I think on so many levels, I would say like the most immediate level is that it's a level playing field now. The barriers to entry, the years of having to develop a craft are absolutely gone. So,
Yeah, I
you
agree.
know, yeah, like I have, family members, partners, parents, not to call them out specifically, but like people who have never made a song or even understand the first thing that it takes to make a song at a professional level, make professional music using these AI tools, which of course have been trained on all of our hard work over decades and decades and decades. So I think in some ways like it's great because the barriers to entry allow anyone to experiment. But I would say like there are obviously pros and cons to the situation, and I think at a professional level for producers who are now competing with machines, which is like virtually impossible to do unless you're have a absolute God's gift of a talent. And for songwriters as well, I think it's like great because songwriters have had it so hard for so long, and now you guys, anyone can generate, 50 top lines in the space of 2 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I use
Which,
Suno. I think it's
yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah. I mean, a lot of professional songwriters, absolutely love it, and I think it's like all about like how we choose to use it,
Yeah.
because the impact can be good and negative. And I think
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, like it's not going to go away. I think when the synthesizers came out and computers, music being made on computers started, a lot of the organic studios at the time on the mixing desk, they hated computers, and people would say that using a synthesizer is cheating and all this kind of stuff. And you got to remember as well, just like real quick, like with computers, that was like the first time you could have like unlimited tracks, right? Because
Mm.
before that we had like 8 track, 4 track,
Mm.
16 track, and then computers came along and you could have an infinite amount of channels. And I kind of feel like AI is like the same, but in terms of idea generation. So you can have like infinite amount of idea generation. You can generate as much as you want. Still doesn't mean that they're going to be hits. Still doesn't mean that like those ideas are going to find connection with a
Mm.
global audience.
Yeah.
But still, I think like the concept fundamentally is the same.
Yeah. I mean, so that leads on to my next question to you, which you kind of touched upon, is do you believe AI is more useful as a creative assistant rather than actually replacing the human creativity? And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is just all about how you use it. So I would say as an assistant would probably be like best case
Mm.
scenario. But I've experimented a lot with AI myself, and I've noticed actually that the ideas that I can generate out of it that are
Yep.
phenomenal are the
Agree.
ones that I don't have to really touch or do too much to,
Mm.
and it just comes from like an incredibly detailed prompt
Mm.
that points the computers towards the meaning behind the sounds.
Mm.
So, it's almost like becoming a stage director, I think, production these
Mm.
days. It's like you direct that stage. You don't have to play every character like you would have to sit and play every instrument.
Mm.
You can just direct it. But if you direct it towards meaning, you can definitely come up with some incredible work.
I mean, it's kind of like for top liners when they started using those lyric rhyming websites and
Yeah.
that's in a way it's a cheat sheet. It's just helping you kind of get there faster. So that's the way I kind of like to look at AI. It's for me anyway, from what I've seen, it's not replacing it so much. It's just more kind of helping you get there faster, and then you're more productive with going on to the next song.
Yeah, absolutely. But as well, like I feel like the industry, the way it's set up, like everything can be so segregated. So say for example, like even myself, as a producer with over 1,000 manual songs that I've made on my computer over the last, I don't know, 12 years or whatever it is. If I want to release one of those songs that I've done with someone else, a writer and an artist, let's just say, I have to contact that artist, pay a fee. I have to contact the writer, contact the writer's publishers. It's a very complex process to be able to get a song out that I own the master for. When now, I could sit and generate a gazillion masters on a computer, own all the rights, well, to a degree, and, release it without having to jump through so many loopholes.
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah, it's positive and negative. But I still think like the point of music is to connect and to communicate with other people. So,
Yeah.
it's that's what the focus should always be.
I agree. Yep. So many songwriters use techniques such as free writing, improvisation, object writing, hook first songwriting, and melodic development exercises like melodic maths. Do you think structured creative methodologies can improve songwriting outcomes?
Yeah, I do, but I think the kind of maths, the music maths that I like the most are emotional. They're not really based on like a specific scale sometimes, or like, a 1 3 5, or just like kind of keeping
Yeah.
it 4 5 1, all this kind of stuff. It's more just emotional maths. Like, if this chord makes me feel like this, even what should the chord be beforehand to increase the impact of that chord, or what should the chord be afterwards that can then take me to this other emotion that makes sense,
Do you
emotionally,
feel
it's
though
like sewing it.
do you feel though knowing your music theory as you do helps you get there faster?
I would love to say yeah, because I'm, classically trained, jazz trained, but I've got to say that like so many writers that I've met that don't have that,
Mm.
they don't have that and they're free, they
Mm.
taught themselves. So like I would say that maybe it's somewhere in the middle where it's
Mm.
not necessarily like education training.
I suppose it's more in the back of their mind that it's like they know what kind of works in terms of the sound, but they're
Yeah.
not accessing the actual theory. It's more the feel on the where the
Yeah, like intuitive. It's
yeah,
intuitive, and
yeah,
that's the kind of stuff that like I don't know how you teach that. I think people
mm,
kind of teach themselves that through curiosity. And
yeah,
so, like, anyone I've ever worked with or like mentored, that's what I would always point them towards,
mm,
that kind of that own self curiosity to be able to
mm,
find how to communicate in your own way. Because I
mm.
think ultimately that's what makes you stand out as a writer.
Yeah, I mean, I love like free writing exercises where you just basically write and write and write, stream of consciousness writing. And for
Mm,
me, that's helped me in terms of just get away clutter and just like focus, like find words that I found inspiring that you're kind of getting away all of those lyrics that were in the forefront. And that is a songwriting methodology, but I think a lot of people might actually just accidentally do that
mm,
intuitively, like what you were saying, without actually knowing that it's a structured songwriting idea.
mm.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was in the mindset of songwriting can't be taught, but I'm actually more in the mindset now of I feel like there's so many tools that songwriters can access that can make them better songwriters without having to like actually sit down and do the method, but it's just more there in their brain
Yeah,
to kind of get the ideas flowing.
I
Um,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference. Like I would do the free writing, but from the production side. So
Mm,
especially like during the COVID era where like there wasn't many
mm,
sessions and everything, studios were basically shut down. I'd sit at the computer and make like just half an hour ideas that weren't
mm.
for anyone, and it was just all about that kind of, let's just get it
Getting
all
it
out.
out.
Let's just keep
Yeah.
making, let's keep creating. And I genuinely believe that made me a greater producer because
Love that.
it wasn't anything that like specifically I could point to, but just having done it, and I did like 1,300 ideas in like
What?
A year, yeah, like in like a year and a half. I think I
Wow.
remember there was one day I did like 50 ideas. I mean, I barely left the computer.
Were they like two
Um,
second ideas or
they were like 30 seconds. They were like 30, 45 second ideas, less than a
that's
minute
amazing.
long.
Like song starters.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And just, none of it I ever really used for anything, but it wasn't even for that, it
Mm,
was just to literally free write, just to get
mm,
just for the sake of doing it, which I
mm.
think like there's tremendous value in.
Yeah,
And I do
agreed.
believe like the period after that, when I kind of got back into sessions post COVID, I felt like I was much stronger for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably good for your mental health as well.
I agree.
Yeah. So my last question to you, do you have any advice for emerging songwriters hoping to build an international career?
Yeah. So I would say like make the commitment to yourself first, like make the commitment that this is what I want to do. I won't accept any other path that life has for
Yeah,
me.
no plan
You
B.
know, I'm committed, yeah. And
Mm,
then study your favorite songs, study your favorite songwriters, build relationships with early producers at your stage, other early writers at your stage, collaborate frequently. The more you work with other people, the more you learn. I think there actually
yeah.
can be at times like less to learn when you're only on your own.
Mm,
And actually working with other people is the absolute number one way to
yeah.
improve, to learn more, to widen your skill set and toolbox and understanding. So I would just say like, and just do it every day. Like I don't really think that there's much space to like be part-time.
Mm,
If you want to like really break, I think you have to take it that seriously. You've got to
yeah.
dedicate a lot to it. But try and still find time for yourself. I know it sounds contradictory, but to sit with life and kind of get closer to your own sense of self and source of
Mm,
creativity because the music comes from life experience. So
yeah.
if you
Yeah.
don't live any life experience, you can run into blocks and not have any source of inspiration to draw from. So you
I
have to
love that.
balance, but I would say lean into your craft, lean into the journey, and keep going. And
Mm,
eventually, you can attract the right type of people that can help
mm.
you progress faster and further. Right types of managers, publishers, other kind of creative collaborators, and eventually you build your own world.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. That's so coincidental because that's two of the main things that I'm actually focusing my research on right now is collaboration and mental
Mm,
well-being. So
mhm.
that's brilliant. Didn't even have to probe you there. That's great. Okay, well, that was so interesting. I loved talking to you, and it was so nice chatting to you after such a long time.
I know. Yeah, amazing. And yeah, obviously my thoughts are with you guys. Like, I hope everything goes great for you as you deserve everything you guys work for. One of my favorite
Likewise.
couples on the
Yeah,
planet. So
likewise.
yeah,
Need to get together with the kids.
more power. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, we should do that. Let's try and sort that out before you guys go.
Absolutely. I'll get Steve. Thank you so much for watching that interview. I found it really, really insightful, especially coming from someone who not only has experience in the creative side of songwriting, but also in the business side. We touched upon AI, we touched upon collaboration, songwriting methodologies, how to generate ideas. It was really great, and I can't wait to contribute it to the research and my papers in the future.